Good afternoon. Welcome to the Curtis R. Priem Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. It's a great pleasure to have you all here today for a very special event. My name is John Kelly. I'm chairman of the board of RPI. On behalf of the board, I can tell you that we're very excited about what's happening here today and what it means for this great university. We're prepared, as you all know, to celebrate our 200 years at the forefront of STEM research and education that demonstrates our commitment to leadership and innovation for the oncoming third century of our great institution. We are so grateful to the support of Curtis Priem and Cindy Priem for all they've done for RPI. Curtis, as many of you know, is class of 1982 and has done so many things for this institution, including this incredible facility. We are about to unveil a quantum computer, which when running, the researchers at RPI and our students will have access to one of the most capable computers in the world to address some of today's most pressing problems, even problems that are so large that our Amos supercomputer, traditional computer, is just simply not capable of doing. Areas like health, pharmaceuticals, sustainability, artificial intelligence, national security are all the kinds of problems that this computer is going to tackle that no other computer in the world will be able to do. As you all know, this will be the first quantum computer physically at any university in the world. And it's right here in New York, in the capital region, and in Troy, New York. But it's also, I think, an asset for the entire region and the state of New York, because we will have, throughout the Tech Valley, a quantum capability that is unmatched in the world. Now, we have a very impressive lineup of speakers this afternoon here today to tell us about the possibilities of this system. But to start with, I want to introduce Dr. Martin A. Schmidt, president of RPI, class of 1981, the 19th president of RPI, and really one of the masterminds behind this with Curtis, and you'll hear more about that in a minute. So Marty, if you could come up, thank you.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate the kind introduction. Just let me get this out of the way. So, of course, today we are, I believe, celebrating a new era at RPI, as we will become the first university in the world to bring an IBM Quantum System One onto its campus. Before I begin, I want to thank the three people who made this happen. Dr. John Kelly, who you've already met from the classes of 1978 and 1980. He's chair of the Board of Trustees of RPI and retired IBM Executive Vice President. John's tremendous accomplishments and insights developed throughout his career have helped provide us with sage advice as we considered making this bold move into the quantum age. I also thank Dr. Darío Gil, Senior Vice President and Director of IBM Research, for his leadership in quantum computing and for partnering with us in the IBM Quantum Computational Center and for putting RPI at the top of the list for an IBM Quantum System One. And finally, of course, I want to thank Mr. Curtis Priem, the Vice Chair of our Board of Trustees and co-founder of NVIDIA, whose GPU chips are enabling astonishing advances in artificial intelligence and who is still supporting the leading edge of computing. We are not just celebrating the arrival of the quantum system at RPI, however, but also the Curtis Priem Quantum Constellation, an endowed center for collaborative research that will bring faculty experts in quantum computing to RPI. Curtis deserves credit not only helping to make this happen through his tremendous gifts, but also by initiating our thinking that led us to this moment. It's clear that the bold vision that enabled him to see the future of creating NVIDIA is that same bold vision that helped compel us to move forward into the quantum era. As many of you know, after graduating from RPI in 1981, I spent the next 41 years at MIT, where I got to witness transformations like the Kendall Square neighborhood, which was converted from parking lots and a diner into one of the world's most important hubs in the life sciences, and what has been called, actually, the most innovative square mile on the planet. Without question, it was the leadership of institutions like MIT, Harvard, and the hospitals that spurred this transformation. I firmly believe that the capital region has everything it takes to become another world-leading innovation hub. And I fully intend for RPI to help catalyze that transformation in every way possible. That is why regional engagement is a pillar of the Rensselaer Forward strategic plan we are developing. Today's virtual groundbreaking is an enormous win, not just for RPI, but also for the region. It is part of a surge of regional strength in all aspects of computing. As you know, the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022 has the federal government investing $52.7 billion in domestic semiconductor research, development, manufacturing, and workforce development as a matter of national security. At RPI, we have played an important role in a number of important regional CHIPS Act wins in research and workforce development. Last month, in one of the first major CHIPS Act awards, the Department of Defense announced that the Northeast Regional Defense Technology Hub, or what we call NORDTech, will be one of the 8 innovation hubs it is creating across the country focused on the lab-to-fab transition, helping to prototype new innovations with potential military uses. RPI is one of the 5 core partners in NORDTech, alongside the State University of New York, Cornell, IBM, and New York Creates. And of the 8 awardees, our team received the highest funding level, $40 million in the first year. And I think that sort of regional partnership is what makes that happen. RPI is also a partner in a new Micron Tel National Science Foundation Upwards program. This program is bringing together 6 universities in the United States and 5 universities in Japan to focus on memory-centric research and education. But the CHIPS Act also enabled the NSF's Future of Semiconductors, or FUSE program, which supports innovative research in semiconductors. And our own professor, Darío Gil at RPI, is a lead investigator on an important project in that program. To help shape the national microelectronics agenda, RPI is now establishing a physical presence at the Albany Nanotech Complex, the premier microelectronics facility in the nation. This will allow us to work closely with our colleagues at New York Creates, SUNY, and other partners in industries that are at that physical presence. RPI is leading in workforce development to answer the goals of the CHIPS Act. We have developed a master's degree in semiconductor technology, and we're leveraging our excellent team in Rensselaer at work so that we can offer our educational content to distance learners. We're also helping our regional partners with workforce development. For example, RPI and Hudson Valley Community College have launched a Semiconductor Microelectronics Scholars Program together. This is a program for associate degree students at HVCC designed to attract new students to the field and to create pathways for them to industry or further education. So RPI is an important source of talent, but we'll leverage that talent by partnering with the region. At the Rensselaer IBM Artificial Intelligence Research Collaboration, RPI faculty and students work closely with IBM researchers on fundamental questions in AI, as well as applications. In the last 5 years, this collaboration has generated 130 journal and conference publications. But today, we are headed even deeper into the future. We are so grateful to IBM for the major investment it has made in Yorktown Heights and Poughkeepsie in research and manufacturing for quantum computing. Now, RPI faculty and students can explore quantum computing's most promising potential applications in Troy, New York. We know that as IBM develops increasingly powerful quantum computers, it opens up the opportunity to utilize that power to solve problems that are intractable using classical computing. The challenge, however, is twofold from the perspective at RPI. First, we need to determine what types of problems are best suited for a quantum computer. We believe that application space is vast and will include fields like drug discovery, modeling and predicting new materials, and financial risk modeling. But we need to explore these areas now so that when we are ready for the higher powered quantum computers, when they emerge, we can leverage that. But in addition, we need to integrate quantum computing into our curriculum so that we are graduating students armed with the skills to utilize these powerful quantum computers in the future. Said another way, we need to prepare our students and our researchers for the dawn of the quantum computing age. Frankly, I like to think that this is RPI's equivalent of skating to where the puck is going to be. I'm sorry, but you know we like hockey on this campus. But we don't want to do this alone. We want to partner with our fellow higher education institutes to share our curricular offerings and facilitate access to our quantum computer. I'd like to think that with IBM's leadership in quantum computing in Yorktown Heights, Poughkeepsie, and Albany, and the educational institutions in the region creating tomorrow's quantum innovators, New York's Hudson River Valley has the potential to become Quantum Valley. It's exciting to think about the new research discoveries that will come from this region, but also the new enterprises that can be created as quantum computing enables new businesses and industries. In the spring, we'll hold a ribbon cutting for the IBM Quantum Computational Center. The quantum computer system will be housed in the Voorhees Computer Center, a beautiful chapel once built for the Sisters of St. Joseph's. And the computer will be beneath 4 stained glass windows, each with an image which honors the first 4 doctors of the Latin Christian Church. Now, I want to thank John Kolb for all the work he's done in helping to facilitate bringing the quantum computer to campus, but also because he reached out to RPI's former campus chaplain, Father Ed. And Father Ed reflected on this moment and the positioning of the quantum computer and wrote us a note where he imagined this scene for us. The light of the world, he wrote, will pass through their images to fall upon this magnificent new machine. And the wonders to be discovered and discerned in this space will, in turn, shine their own light out into the world around us, perhaps changing it for the better for centuries yet to come. So thank you, Father Ed, for that. I do believe that with the help of this quantum computing system, we are going to discover wonders. Okay, so now it's my pleasure to reveal the star of the show, what we call the quantum chandelier. So if we could raise the curtain. And thanks to IBM for bringing the chandelier along. This really displays the critical parts of this amazing system, which include, which I'm sure you all know, the pulse tube cryocooler and the mixing chamber that brings the quantum processor to the operating temperature of 0.015 Kelvin, colder than the temperature of outer space. Since molecular motion stops at 0 Kelvin, the cold allows the qubits, which is the basic unit of information in a quantum system, to maintain their quantum state. Towards the bottom of the chandelier is the quantum processor chip, which holds the qubits and performs the calculations. Our first system will have what is called an Eagle processor that can provide 127 qubits. And finally, there is the cryoperm shield, which protects the system from noise, such as the electromagnetic signals from the phone in my pocket. So thank you very much for being here and celebrating this with us. And let me now, at this time, turn the microphone over to Buck Bobbin, who is the Capital Region Director from the Office of United States Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and will be followed by a video message from our own Congressman Paul Tonko.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Buck Bobbin. Senator Gillibrand could not be here today, but I have a brief letter to read from her. Dear President Schmidt, Dr. Gil, gathered faculty and students, and Chair and Vice Chair, it is a privilege to send greetings to everyone attending this exciting moment to break ground on the IBM System One quantum computer here at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Here we have an iconic American corporation partnering with a leading academic research institution in an area of scientific inquiry critical to the progress of our society, with implications for healthcare research, artificial intelligence, the growth of our semiconductor sector, and the entirety of our economy. It is hardly understating it to say that partnerships for projects like these are vital to the vibrancy and prosperity of New York State and the nation. My office continues to advocate for the selection of the National Semiconductor Technology Center by the National Institute for Standards and Technology to be here in the heart of upstate New York, in the high-tech corridor between Buffalo and Albany. We deeply value the partnership of both RPI and IBM, and I hope you will continue to reach out to my office regarding any matter with which we may assist. I'm excited at the potential of this project and look forward to visiting when it is online. Sincerely, Kirsten Gillibrand, United States Senator. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paul Tonko, representative of New York's Capital Region. While I'm sorry I can't be with you in person today, I'm overjoyed to recognize and celebrate an historic development in the world of education and technology, a development that represents a remarkable leap forward for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, the Capital Region, and indeed our country. RPI will soon become the first university in the world to house an IBM Quantum System One. Today, you break ground on this site that will undoubtedly expose our students, faculty, and community to the transformational possibilities of quantum computing. I was honored to visit this campus last month to discuss RPI's impressive advance in quantum computing research and development, as well as the work we in Congress are doing to advance this given technology. The CHIPS and Science Act of 2022, which President Biden signed into law last summer, authorizes new investments in core quantum research programs that will encourage transformative and fundamental scientific discoveries. I'm indeed proud to have pushed hard to advance that legislation and ensure this institute receives the support and funding you deserve to continue to grow, innovate, and inspire bright young minds. The arrival of the IBM Quantum System One computer is a landmark event in scientific and educational history. The students and faculty at RPI will soon have access to a truly remarkable piece of technology, one that has the potential to drive innovation and transform the educational experience. It is my hope that these innovations spread far beyond the RPI campus. RPI's partnership with IBM will unleash the Capital Region's quantum research capabilities. This investment will create a new hub of innovation, train our next generation workforce, and give our community access to cutting-edge technology. Today marks several milestones for RPI, for the Capital Region, and far beyond. Let us embrace this new frontier and the limitless potential it represents. Thank you, and congratulations to RPI on this remarkable achievement.
Okay, now it is really a true honor for me to introduce Curtis R. Priem, RPI class of 1982, and my colleague as Vice Chairman of the Board of RPI. As you heard, Curtis co-founded NVIDIA in 1993. He was fundamental to the invention of the GPU, the architecture, and of course, as you all know, it has reshaped the industry and has been the foundational architecture for artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and everything that's going on today. His past support for this university has been absolutely incredible. But I have to tell you that when we first started talking about quantum, whereas it took me, when I came here in the late 70s, I came in as a physicist, and I realized that I was probably never going to see a quantum computer in my lifetime. So I switched over to solid-state materials, which served me well. And I worked for decades on the old Moore's Law. What I was amazed at as I described quantum computing to Curtis is it took him about a nanosecond to understand the importance of quantum computing and the future. Curtis is a visionary and someone that can also make things happen. So Curtis, before we begin, I'd like to invite President Schmidt up with you, and please come up to the stage.
It's a qubit.
It's a Okay. Curtis, it's all yours.
Oh, thank you. Welcome to MPAC. It was 19 years ago that I was at my last groundbreaking, which was MPAC. 4 years later, we opened it. And I didn't think that we'd be doing this again, another groundbreaking that I'd be participating in. But I really want to welcome you here. I don't have a speech I'm going to read because this is a performing arts center and you need to perform. But I am going to tell you some stories on how we got here. The first one, to me, is sort of amazing. My life has intersected with IBM at least 4 substantial times. The first one was when I was looking for a college. I was accepted at MIT and also Rensselaer. And one of the 2 reasons why I came to Rensselaer was they were just installing the IBM 360, 3033 computer, and I was here for 1 semester doing punch cards, and then with the promise that we'd be on terminals, which was over in Voorhees. So when Voorhees opened up, the terminals were over there, and that's where I lived for all my computer science stuff. So it's even more amazing that it's sort of like coming back home. The second time was, my first job was up in Burlington, Vermont at a startup, and we were doing computer graphics up there, and this company called IBM came around at a trade show and basically was interested in, could we do this for the IBM PC? And so, because I was the only person in the room that knew hardware and software, I became the architect, which started my journey through my life. And that turned out to be in 83 and 84, that turned out to be the IBM Professional Graphics Adapter. And it was the very first accelerator on a PC. And also, because I had the AT, IBM PCX AT, which had a floating point processor. You see this theme about floating point going along? I actually did the first ray trace on a PC. And the second, after a test image, the ray trace happened to be a flying logo of IBM with self-casting shadows, which I actually had a nice print, and now it's being put into the IBM museum, where it belongs, as opposed to on a wall at home. So then I go off, I moved to California, work for Sun Microsystems. With the professional graphics adapter, I learned my lessons on sort of how not to do graphics that wouldn't keep up in the future because we were following clock speed. And I honed my skills at Sun on a theory I had, which is there a possibility of following Moore's law on compute? And so it was sort of proven there. I sort of was walked to the door because one of the founders thought that he could do our performance following clock speed, and I'm like, we're going to double our performance every 18 months using Moore's law. And so NVIDIA was born. And with that, you can see through its lifetime that it's been doubling every 18 months, and it will continue to double with the technology. But along the way, the GPU was created, a very, it's got probably 10,000, 20,000 CPUs in it at this point. That's why it can do so much stuff. And one of the many things besides crypto and self-driving cars and game boxes and 3D graphics and everything else was it could do a supercomputer. So back in 2019, we actually dedicated the supercomputer at Rensselaer, and it was the fastest computer at a private university in the known universe. Everybody keeps saying the world, and I'm like, this thing, right? It's known universe, not known galaxy, it's known universe. We're the only ones that are gonna get one of these. So we got a supercomputer as a slice of what's at Livermore Labs and Oak Ridge, and hell of fast, and basically it's like, okay, my path crossed again with IBM because they had the IBM CPUs in it. So then along came this quantum thing that I was sort of curious about, because with NVIDIA, I sort of saw that we maxed out what you could do on a silicon. I mean, they're not done by any means, but the destiny of the silicon will be, commanded by NVIDIA in the future. And it's like, well, I'm not going to bet on AI, which feels like, the dot-com boom at this point. But it's like we have to have a different technology. So quantum sort of, I was very curious about it. So this whole story started back in March. We were at a retreat, and it is very true what Marty said, is we talk about hockey at, the board retreats, and actually don't do anything else, but that's not really the case. But we were kicking around the room. It's like, okay, what can we do to skate to where the puck is going, not to where it currently is, which, is sort of NVIDIA and AI. And so John Kelly was sitting next to me, and while everybody was talking, I sort of like leaned over to John and said, John, what does IBM do with their old quantum computers? And he leaned back and he says, they grind them up. I'm like, okay. So I lean over and say, why can't we get one of those quantum computers before they grind them up? And he gave me about 6 reasons, and I'm like, give me a reason we can't solve, sort of stuff. And at this point, we sort of brought in Marty and said, Curtis has this idea, and and I'm just saying, John, give me the real reason why we can't do this, right? And so he finally came back the next day and he says, I've got 2. One is financial. We can't afford it. And I'm saying, give me a reason we can't solve, right? And I had already talked to Cindy, my wife, and it's like, there's this opportunity of terminating, it would terminate our foundation. So we're on the glide path to 0. So I started at 0, went through NVIDIA days, and then back to 0 is our plan. And her attitude was more like, you should have done this earlier because I get more of your time if we terminate the foundation. And it's like, okay. So I have her full support about, not the quantum computer, but she wants more of my time. So we go back, and so then I'm talking to Marty and John, and it's like, okay, we only have one obstacle, and it's a wild card. And there's one person in IBM that would make this decision if we could have one or not, and his name's Darío. And so we don't know what to do it about, but I knew we had this double super secret weapon in our back closet, and the weapon is called the Marty. It turns out that when Darío was over at MIT getting his doctorate degree, Marty, or the Marty, was running the whole show over there. So it just took one phone call and when your mentor calls you and says, we're going out to dinner, you say, okay. All of us wish we were flies on the wall during that dinner, because none of us, neither of them have told us what actually happened at the dinner. But from the first time I leaned over to John to when we had a contract, it was less than 2 months. And we're talking about including with what we're going to do with Ricketts that the board has approved, this is going to be somewhere in the $150, $160 million project. I've never seen a project go this fast. I've never seen a project this big come together. And besides thanking IBM for the opportunity to do this, I really want to thank the Rensselaer community for coming together and actually seeing how every single person fits into this, how they fit in as a joint venture with IBM. IBM saw immediately how we fit in to their product plans. I mean, we are going to find all the new applications for the quantum computers, and between the two of us, we are going to be rocking and rolling on this. So from this teeny idea to where we are today, and the support of our community, I just want to thank everybody, because this is another one of those things where you sort of get started, and then everybody that's more capable than you actually take over and go conquer the world. So thank you very much.
Wow, everything he said is true. Right, Cindy? It's now truly my pleasure to introduce Dr. Darío Gil. Darío is an IBM Senior Vice President, Director of IBM's Global Research. And I can't say enough good things about Darío, other than he went to MIT and not RPI, but that's okay. People ask me, John, 40 years at IBM, great career. Why did you retire? You look as though you can still keep working. And I said, well, I want to do some other things, but now I'll share with you the real reason I retired at the end of 2020. I realized that Dr. Darío Gil was the person who was going to take everything that I had started and bring it to fruition and start many, many new things, whether it was AI, quantum computers, or whatever. And so it's rare for a person, I think, to be able to retire and say, not only is there a replacement, but this person is better than I am, and take this technology forward. So ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Darío Gil.
Well, good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be here on this momentous occasion. And before I begin, I want to be able to thank our partners at RPI, the RPI Board of Trustees. We had the pleasure of hosting them at the Albany Nanotech facility this morning as well, for bringing us here today. Your support and the extraordinary vision and generosity of Curtis has made it possible for us to celebrate such a significant milestone in the history of this university, the technology industry, and in the advancement in higher education. And today really is a monumental day for RPI, for IBM, and for the field of quantum computing. For the first time, as it was referenced, an IBM Quantum System One will be built and operated directly on a university campus. At IBM, we have dedicated the last several years, actually the last several decades, to moving quantum computing out of the lab and into the hands of our global ecosystem, who will be critical in making the promise of quantum computing a reality. Housing an IBM quantum system at a university, especially one as rich in creativity and scientific knowledge as RPI, will serve as a cornerstone of pushing the boundaries of quantum computing into the next level. Since its founding nearly 200 years ago, in 1824, RPI has consistently advanced the frontiers of a vast range of scientific fields and has established itself as one of the world's leading higher educational institutions. RPI has graduated and cultivated generation after generation of prolific and groundbreaking inventors, scientists, physicists, and engineers. The ever-curious and forward-thinking minds that fill this university have nurtured some of technology's most accomplished pioneers, some of which are sitting here in this audience. The breakthroughs that have taken just steps from where we stand have fueled many of the engineering and physics innovations that IBM and the broader technology industry have used to change the way we compute, think, and communicate. Now, with quantum computers, RPI will be at the forefront of ushering in a completely new paradigm of computing that offers profound possibilities for the exploration of a range of previously intractable problems across areas such as materials design, sustainability, pharmaceutical development, healthcare, and much more. What's most exciting to me is that quantum computers have reached a tipping point, one that is taking our world into what we have coined as an era of quantum utility. Quantum utility is the point at which quantum computers, such as the one being built right here at RPI, could serve as a scientific tool to explore a new scale of problems which classical systems may never be able to solve. At IBM, we've already begun to demonstrate that our quantum systems have reached this level of capability. But to reach the next plane of what's possible and to truly push quantum computing forward, we will need the expertise of our partners and the global community, including those in academia who are leading the research that has a prescience into the obstacles and opportunities that may present in the future. And we cannot do this alone. In fact, we firmly believe that the biggest breakthroughs in quantum computing will not come from IBM. It will come from the explorers like the people in this room who are capable of thinking of the most complex and uncharted challenges that can be mapped into quantum computing. Together, we will explore the known limits of computational territory and push even further yet into the unknown. I am also thrilled that our teams will work together to foster the next generation of the quantum workforce, one that perhaps will challenge our current thinking of what quantum is capable of and the limits of which it can be pushed. To close, I am humbled to lead our team into this collaboration, which will undoubtedly expand beyond the great state of New York to catalyze innovation across the world. Thank you, and I can't wait to get started.
Okay, let me just wrap a very exciting event with a couple of comments. Number one, you're welcome to take pictures of the chandelier, the guts of a quantum computer. If there's a competitor in the room, I'll tell you right now, if you build that, a copy of that, it won't work. We've designed in some things that won't make it work. And for the RPI faculty and students, I challenge you to find what's wrong with that system. But feel free to take pictures, come up and take a selfie, whatever you'd like to do. But really, I want to challenge the faculty and the great students at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Through the vision of President Schmidt, the financing that we heard about from Curtis Priem, the generosity of Darío Gil, you now have a tool that no other university in the world has. Let's take this tool, let's do great things, and let's have a great bicentennial, but really a very innovative third century. Thank you for joining us today.